Hello everyone, welcome back. We are doing another Sims 4 speed build today, and this is the purple house of the A Very Color House series, meaning it's a very purple, blue, red, whatever, you know what I'm saying? So this is the purple one, and I absolutely hated doing this one. I knew I was gonna hate doing this one. The thing is that purple is my favorite color, but I don't like just any purple, number one. I don't like red purples. I very much prefer blue purples over red purples. And I couldn't find a lot of purples that match because there's this weird wide spectrum of everything from pink to almost blue that is tagged as purple. And with some of the tagging was just plain wrong. There were some items that were like yellow or green. They had absolutely no purple on them whatsoever, and they were tagged purple. It was really weird. I had to go through and manually look in some areas to see if maybe there was a purple swatch, especially on certain items that seemed like they should have a purple swatch. And it did turn out that there were some that had purple swatches, but like the yellow swatch was showing up instead. I don't know what was going on with that, but I did notice that in the recent free base game doors, I think. Was it the doors? I don't remember now. Maybe it was the windows. Was it the base game, though? Oh god, I can't remember now. There is at least one item, though, in either doors or windows that the color that shows up on the actual object does not match the swatch. They're like all switched around, so like the black swatch was showing up under white and the white swatch was showing up under light wood. You know what I mean? I don't know, it's really weird to explain, but it's a weird little glitch, and I don't know if that was playing into this or not. But that wasn't as big of a problem as just finding matching purples, which I ultimately really ended up not being able to do that well. So it's like the blue house, it's a whole bunch of different purples that don't really go great together, and I really leaned into that. I decided, you know what, we'll make it a fairy house. I mean, what better time to do that? And we'll really lean into the absurdity and ugliness of this, and we'll make it cute and fairy-like and colorful and fun. And I think for the most part it came together in the end. I love the shape of the house, especially the roof. Here's the thing about the roof, and this is why I was so confused when I was watching, like the gameplay trailer and everything. I have literally never heard of or seen anyone use Shift C on roofs until now. This was the first time I'd even ever heard that that was an option, to use Shift C on the roofs and have a more molding options to the roofs to make them slightly swoopier and stuff. Literally, if that's been in the game, why has no one ever used it on a build before? Like, we had spellcasters, and these roofs would have worked well for that, and no one ever used it for that. There have been other times too. Cottage living is a good example, and no one ever used it. Really, that's weird to me. And it's like never mentioned anywhere or talked about. No, none of the content creators use it until now. Now is the first time I've ever seen anyone use it. It's wild to me. So, yeah, you learn something new every day. It's not the only new thing I've learned about The Sims recently. I often talk about how I love having occults in the game, even if I don't regularly play with occults. I'm gonna change that in the very near future, though. But I don't regularly play with them, but I love having them in the game. It makes the game feel more fantastical. It makes it feel fuller and more fleshed out. I don't really know how to explain what it is I'm thinking and feeling, but I love the realism of a good family life gameplay, but I like that element of fantasy or sci-fi, not Journey to Batuu sci-fi, but like Sixum and the Sims aliens type sci-fi stuff, overlapping all of that. I just think it's more fun and interesting that way, even if I don't directly play with the occults myself very often. Anyways, I learned recently, because I've never really played through Spellcasters. I was going to. Years ago, when Spellcasters first came out, I was actually going to do a series here on my channel about Spellcasters, and it was the first time that I realized that children couldn't be occults. I had a whole storyline planned out. It was the first and only time I've ever, planned an entire series and everything out, how I wanted it to be and everything. And then we got the game, and the kids couldn't even be spellcasters. Like, there was no real indication of them even being spellcasters, and it was the luck of the draw whether they'd be born a spellcaster or not, and you couldn't make them a spellcaster in Create a Sim. By the way, there's a funny little trick the game plays on me with that terrain paint right there. In just a minute, you'll see. We it's in a couple of minutes, and I painted this terrain paint here only to save and exit the game and have the other terrain paint come back. It was the weirdest thing. You'll see, because there's a cut when it happens, because I got up and walked away from the game to take my dogs outside, so I saved and exited the game. Anyways, back to my spellcasters thing. So when we got the game and I got my Sims in there, I realized that not only could kids not be spellcasters, but the family that I made in Cass, the two adults that I had genetically create a child, did not create a spellcaster child. I don't know if it has to be done through pregnancy only, and that's how they get it, or if it's literally random even when doing a genetic child in Cass. But either way, even if the kid had inherited spellcasting, she couldn't be a spellcaster, and I was severely disappointed. It was the first time I had been so severely disappointed in a pack in The Sims 4, because I had this whole storyline and everything that I wanted to play out, and I couldn't. There was no way to do it. See? So I saved, exited the game, came back, and I'm like, wait a minute, did I forget to save? You saw the save thing come up, because it went back to that terrain paint. That is the weirdest terrain paint glitch I have ever seen. Ever. Anyways, so I didn't ever really much play with spellcasters, because that early disappointment, really deeply disappointed me. Very much deeply disappointed me. So I never really played with them. And my understanding was that if a spellcaster child inherited ancient bloodlines, that meant that they were a spellcaster. Like, they could only inherit ancient bloodlines if they were a spellcaster. And it turns out that that's not true. I had thought all this time that literally the only way to get ancient bloodline is if you were a spellcaster and the child of spellcasters. And my niece, who was working on the Ultimate Sim Challenge, I think that's what they call it, the Ultimate Sim Challenge, she got a child who had the ancient bloodlines but was not born a spellcaster. And I don't know, there's something just different or special about being born a spellcaster versus becoming one later. Maybe the milestones or something like that. But anyways, yeah, so she's like, I don't want to do my Ultimate Sims challenge with this sim anymore because she wasn't actually born a spellcaster and it's not really the same thing. And I'm like, what? She has an ancient bloodline. How can she not be a spellcaster? And my niece is like, yep, they can get ancient bloodline and not be a spellcaster. I'm like, I've been lied to. So, yeah, I'm still learning new things about this game every day. Mostly things involving the occults because I don't play much with them. Even though I build for them a lot, I don't play directly with them very much. And then, of course, roofing. But I have been saying since the beginning of my channel, back in my Minecraft days, that I hate making roofs. It doesn't matter what game it is. It could be Minecraft. It could be Bloxburg on Roblox, especially Bloxburg on Roblox. It could be any of the Sims games. I hate making roofs. They're just the most horrendous thing to have to build. I absolutely hate it. So I end up not paying much attention to roof stuff anyways. So it's very likely that someone did mention it somewhere along the way and I just didn't pay much attention because I didn't care. Anyways, back to the build and ending my rambling rant session there. I didn't know what else to do with the outside, so I just made it a pond. Honestly, building and decorating with solely purple, I went into it knowing it was gonna be hard, and I've been dreading it this entire time. I've seen other people do purple as well, and to be honest with you, I don't think I've seen very many single color builds with purple that have turned out super great. I've seen a couple that were like predominantly purple or like the main color was purple, but none where they were purposely trying to make as much stuff purple as possible and trying to get everything as purple as possible turn out super great. Purple is just not an easy color to decorate with, especially homes and inside of homes and stuff like that. Like if you're designing a garden that is various shades of purple or like a patio area somewhere outdoors where you do include a little bit of either the blue or the pink red side of things, it can be beautifully done. But I personally feel like purple is an incredibly hard color to decorate a house in. Now that doesn't mean like you can't have touches of purple here and there depending on how you're decorating. Like if you're predominantly red and you put touches of plum purple in there here and there, that works great. Touches of purple as a secondary color work beautifully. But purple as the main color, I've never seen it look good. And that's coming from someone who absolutely adores the color purple. Like, it is hands down my top favorite color. More of a grayish, bluish, pastel-y kind of purple, not like the vibrant, like, violet color. Like, most of these purple colors in here I don't enjoy. They're not cute to me. They're actually kind of grating to the eyes to me. But more of a blue, gray, pastel-y kind of purple is the kind that I like, personally. And I do have little touches of purple here and there in my own home sometimes. A little pot, a little plant pot that is like a pale purple color or whatever. Very pale, very, very pastel pale. So it's not like I don't love purple, because it's literally my favorite color. I just don't think it works as a main color for decorating. Anyways, I have said that same thing about a million different ways in this video already. I'm sorry. I think it's just my way of apologizing for how weird and chaotic this house ends up being. In the end, I decided to, especially in like the kitchen and the bathroom, and because I kind of really didn't have a choice, I decided to default back to what I had done with the red one, which is kind of what I wish I had done starting right from the beginning of this build, and said, okay, we're gonna have some white stuff or gray stuff or blue stuff or something. I think it would have given me a little more leeway in how I was building, but I waited all the way until the kitchen and the bathroom to decide, okay, I'm gonna put some white in here because we need these things, and there aren't very good purple options, or in some cases there are no purple options at all. So we're going to incorporate some white here and it'll look better. You know what I mean? I wish I would have decided to do that sooner, because some of the chaos would have been toned down a little bit, but whatever. It is what it is. It's a fairy house, and it's a cute little fairy house, and it's a perfect little fairy lot. I don't know. We'll have to look and see in the walkthrough if it's starter friendly. I don't think it's going to be starter friendly, but there are a few things you could delete and have it be starter friendly. Sorry, if you heard that, I still have a cold. I mean, I'm feeling 1,000 times better than I was last week, but I still have a little bit of a cold, and it messes with my ability to speak for long periods of time without having swallowing issues or breathing through my nose issues. It's pretty rough right now. Only when I'm speaking, though. If I don't talk, I don't feel it or notice it much. But as soon as I start talking a lot, then I can feel the congestion and all that kind of stuff a little bit more. But I am feeling so much better than I was the last couple of weeks. I honestly think we all in my house had COVID again, because it was kind of rough there for a couple of weeks. We were all like sick and then better and then sick and then better, and it was weird. And other people around us have been really, really, really sick recently too. So yeah, I think COVID made the rounds in our family again recently. And we should be just about done with the speed build, because the bedroom is the last thing. I purposely made this house super, super small. All the conveniences of a home, but not necessarily a lot of space, because it's a fairy home, and if you end up getting the fairy pack, the fairies don't really need a home. They have their little houses that you can fulfill needs in. Plus, they prefer to live outdoors and do everything outdoors anyways. So you won't really need the in-home stuff. So there you go. Let's get to the walkthrough. And here we are with the little fairy house. And I remembered the mailbox and the trash can this time. I don't always remember them. I'm very sorry about that. But we have a little lot here. I built it in Henford on Bagley, but you can put it basically anywhere. It's not the smallest lot, but it's fairly close to it. I think it's like a 20 by 30 or something. There's a pond. You can put fish in it, or you can just use it to bathe. It's not very deep, so I think you should be able to bathe in it. We'll find out. Maybe I'll test it once I get early access to the pack, but not a lot of gardening space. Or rather, there's a lot of space for gardens, but I didn't put garden beds out yet because they're not purple. And I was trying to keep everything as purple as possible, including the pond. So that's why there's only lights in the pond, because they're purple, you know? We've got a purple stucco fairy house. We've got lots of plants, lots of purple trees, purple everywhere. That was kind of the point, though, right? I did include this base game bonus tree because this is like my favorite tree in the entirety of the game. But not everybody might have it because I think it was a bonus item for like buying the deluxe version of the game or something. Hopefully there'll be a nice tree to replace it with in the new pack. Alright, let's head to the house here. Oh, let's back up a little bit so you can see the house from the front. There, little fairy house, lots of plants growing on the house as well. The house itself actually turned out really cute. Again, this is another situation from this series where I might copy the actual house, but make it a legit house, you know, and not just be, can we do everything in purple? Because the actual style, like footprint layout of the house turned out really cute. It's just the colors of everything that are a little obnoxious. But anyways, we're a little short here. Let's go up a little bit. So we have the front door here. You can replace these plants and these planters, at least the small ones anyways, with living plants. I just put those there to be decorated. And then we have the very maximalist purple living dining space here. Again, fairies don't really need that much space, so I didn't put a ton in because they don't really cook in the kitchen and they don't really eat at a dining table. I mean, they can, but yeah, they don't really need this house that much. So that's kind of what I was going on. And then the bathroom, they do, even your nature sims do need a bathroom to start with, at least. So there's that. And then the little attic space that is a bedroom. It can only fit one single bed. So you're not getting a lot of people in this house. You can't even get a couple in this house because there isn't space for two. It's like a single fairy house. And on that note, I think we're gonna leave this video here. If you enjoyed this video, if you're enjoying my channel, if you're enjoying this little series, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!